All right, well, as I've spoken about, major developments just this afternoon with Israel launching their first retaliatory strikes on Iran, further putting the Middle East on a knife's edge. Joining me now for insights on what this means for that region and, of course, domestically here is Lincoln Parker, our national security expert. Link, great to see you.
G'day, Erin.
What's your immediate reaction to what's occurred over the past couple of hours?
Well, it's amazing. We knew that Israel was going to strike back because this is one of the first times that Iran has actually launched an attack from within Iran onto Israel. So they were always going to strike back. And we saw that over the last few hours that Israel has struck back deep into the middle of Iran near their nuclear facilities. Now, it hasn't damaged those facilities. We heard a report from the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, that has come out and said there's no damage to any of Iran's facilities.
Now, looking at what this means and the degree of escalation here, we haven't heard yet officially from Israel. That's my understanding prior to coming on air. America, though, has confirmed, has backgrounded networks in the US that they were warned about this attack by Israel. Iran is essentially saying, local news is saying nothing happened, nothing to report here. Is that in some ways a good sign that Iran might be looking to just not escalate things and ignore and pretend like nothing happened so they don't have to then retaliate? What's your take?
Well, I think about it from Iran's perspective. Israel has just shown Iran that it can strike deep into their territory, very close to their nuclear facilities. So Iran right now is quaking in their boots. They didn't know it was going to happen. They didn't know that Israel would be able to do that. Israel also struck radar sites in the south of Syria and then struck, without being shot down, deep into Iran. So Iran would be very frightened right now. And so they'll be thinking about what they're going to do from now on.
From the American perspective, and I just showed you Biden's very, very firm warnings to Iran, don't, and they do, and even saying, you know, Israel has every right to strike back, in my opinion, but he also said to Netanyahu, don't strike back, leave it here, you've come out with a win. America is of no help to anyone at the moment under his leadership.
Unfortunately, the United States of America under President Joe Biden is going backwards. It's making the world less safe. It's making the United States less safe. He has been a foreign policy disaster. Look at the wars that we have going on around the world, and we're probably going to see another war very soon with China invading Taiwan, and it's very scary. I mean, the Strait of Hormuz could be closed by Iran. Who knows what's going to happen? That's going to affect us. It's going to affect Australia and the free world, and we're not getting leadership out of President Biden. Australians
in Israel are being told to get out if they can do so safely. They're being told not to go to the region. What do you foresee happening over the next few hours? Do you think that Israel will come out and make a statement, or do you think they will just go silent?
I wouldn't be surprised if Israel does come out and make a statement now and confirm what has happened. Usually they're very open and transparent, and that's the great thing about a democracy, and we should be letting Penny Wong know that that's, you know, we need those sorts of allies, that Israel is a democracy and a friend, and that they come out and you can actually have a phone call with them, as you can't do with Hamas and the terrorists. So I expect Israel will do that, yeah.
Looking at the bigger picture and the impact that this could have here in Australia, we already know that the fuel supply here is pitifully low.
Yes.
What kind of impact? We know that the financial markets have already been hit. What kind of impact can we see domestically here?
Well, if you have a car, I'd go out and fill it up with petrol. So we only have 58 days of fuel, emergency fuel storage in Australia. Now, your father, even when he was in the army and then later when he was in the Senate, was the top proponent of saying we must have more fuel storage in this country.
I can tell you it wasn't just in those forums. It was at home, at every dinner table, every conversation.
Well, he's right.
It's
about our security. We have no fuel here. If our supply lines get cut off, you've got no petrol, and that's no petrol for our cars, our tanks, for industry, for nothing. We're almost, you know, we're sitting, our economy would die. So we should get onto that.
Richard Marles had a big announcement this week, a couple of days ago. Big, I use big. What did you make of it? And is it all just big letters, big numbers, big jargon, and not much really of substance?
Well, there's not a lot of substance there. And unfortunately, what it shows to us after we saw the actual projected spending, it's trickery. It's deception, and you should not be doing that with Australia's national security. There's actually really only about $5.7 billion being spent in the near term. 90% of the spending that Richard Marles and the Labor government are coming out and saying that they're going to do all these great things with defence doesn't happen till the end of the decade. Plus, they're cancelling planned F-35. These are these great jet fighters that we absolutely need. They're cancelling them.
So what I can't understand, and look, maybe I'm stupid and they've got it right, they're saying we no longer have a 10-year window to prepare for war, but everything they're announcing is at the back end of a 10-year window. That does not compute.
They're trying to hoodwink the Australian public.
And the Australian public is not stupid. Well,
let's hope that they're listening to you right now and that they understand that they're being tricked, they're being deceived, where our ADF is being weakened. It's like if your employer goes to you and says, you're going to get a raise in 10 years, maybe. Right?
I would tell them, with all due respect, to sod off.
Exactly.
Well, unless, it was significant and whatever.
But this is a lot worse. This is about our future. This is about our safety and security and our national security. And that's the government's #1 job, and they're pitifully failing and doing it on purpose.
I've got Andrew Wallace on soon, who is going to talk about a national security strategy. Link, brilliant as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
We might keep you here, actually, for the rest of the show in case something else develops over the next hour or so. Really appreciate it.